4, Community Development Monthly Reports. Peter Preston.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had 37 building permits and, pardon me, 30 zoning permits and only 8 enforcement actions. I'm happy to report that Dave is back up and on his feet, so enforcement action will we'll have more enforcement action here for the next time. But that's all I have to report right now.
Any questions for Mr. President? No? Okay, thank you. Agenda item number 5, in compliance with 24 CFR 58.342, review and consider the exempt project determination form for a proposed emergency roof repair at 338 North Dewey Street, Owasso.
I'll make that motion.
Support?
Okay, we have a motion and support. Any discussion?
Do you have any details? Do you know any details on it? No.
I don't have anything in front of me. There was something in our packet. Do you have a handout on this?
I can get you one.
Can you do that? Can you do that? Well, Casey's getting copies of that for everybody. We'll move on to item number 6, other agenda items. Does anybody have any other agenda items? No? Second call to the public?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
What is this building on number 5?
We're getting the handouts right now.
Okay.
Yep.
I was putting, the request was put in by the equalization department. He's here, so he should be able to say what it is.
Is he still here?
Just
I hope he can. Let me check.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bureaucracy.
Do you have the handouts for it?
Yeah, no, she's getting them right now. This is essentially a bureaucratic thing that talks about the exemption status of us using our program income, which comes from our housing program, and used forward to fix a roof and such. And it's exempt because of the environmental, the exempt that it does not have to meet the environmental conditions that normally would apply in a bigger project when you're spending federal and state funds. So, and they're making us do these now, which is a little frustrating because we kill a lot of trees to not have to meet the environmental standards for re-roofing.
So federal or state funds are being used to repair the roof, is that correct?
Right, through our program income money.
Okay.
We'd expended federal and state money through our housing program to do rehabilitation. That used to be an old grant program through the Community Development Block Grant. We no longer receive those funds, but we are being paid back through a mortgage process where we lend the money out. So we get that money called program income. Now we can do emergency repairs. We don't have near the money that we used to, but we can use that money. And this is just more or less making sure that the Board of Commissioners is certifying, yes, it is exempt. It's small enough from meeting those guidelines.
You know, when was the last time we had one of these emergency repairs? It's been like a year, year and a half.
Something like that.
I remember back in, I don't think that 17, we had quite a few of them. I don't remember any last year.
No, and they're slowly diminishing because we're burning through our money. And so as mortgages are paid off, we'll recoup some of that money, but it's nowhere near the $400-some odd thousand that we used to have.
So everyone has the handouts, so any discussion?
We don't get any grant money now, is that it?
No, we're no longer, the state and feds concentrated all the money into urban areas. And so our housing program is essentially dealing with the rural areas when they need emergency repairs, roofing, septic tanks, those sort of things.
So this is just for the record, it's a house in Owasso, and you have to certify that it's not in a flood, disaster protection area, coastal barrier, all those kinds of things. And because you're using grant dollars or.
Had previously used grant dollars
Yeah.
as his program
Yeah.
income.
Yeah,
That's why I started this off with saying bureaucracy.
bureaucracy.
Last, I think they wanted 4.6.
Okay, any questions, any further discussion?
She's gonna be here now.
Okay, so we have a motion, support, discussion. All in favor of moving this on to committee of whole on Wednesday, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes, it moves on to Wednesday. We covered item number 6, item number 7, second call to the public. Do we have anything, Madam Clerk?
No.
No? Okay. With that, item number 8, meeting adjourned.
5 minutes, finance.
Good job.
Meeting to order. Can we stand for the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, first call to the public. Anyone like to speak at this time? If not, you can speak at the end. Also, for our agenda, a little report on the MAC conference, Michigan Association of Counties. Marlene, Cindy, and I did attend. Give a little bit of a rundown on that. Also, we'll have a report from Parks and Recs meeting, which met last month, and recommendations from that board, from their people that sit on that board. Okay. Item number 4, need a motion to consider the 2019 tax rate request form L-4029 to determine the millage the county intends to levy for 2019.
So moved.
Support.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion. These are our millages for seniors, Medicare, MSU Extension, veterans, and veterans. Anything, I know that seniors wanted to go from 0.43 to 0.46, am I right?
4.6 is what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
So do we have numbers for this year, or is that what we're supposed to, is that what we're doing?
That's what the board does.
So I'm assuming when you say seniors, that's SCOA?
Yes. Senior council.
Are there requests from these various entities, what they want to have?
They would like it to be, all of them are at the maximum, except for the seniors.
Scope.
And just for the, well, we'll double check it for tomorrow, but it appears that number, that .2 that you see as the last number, should probably be .1994.
For veterans?
Bottom veterans number, yes. Yeah, because those, there was no headly adjustment this year, but there was a headly adjustment last year, and so it should be the same, which it was last year.
Okay.
These all reflect headly adjustments from last year.
Okay.
So where are we gonna be at with Council on Aging? Are they gonna come back and continue their
They're
request?
planning on being on the agenda tomorrow for Health and Human Services to discuss their increase from .43 to
They have a budget put
And
together.
this was, fresh from memory, this was the presentation.
This was last month, so
Last.
we found out this form isn't done until this month, so they had another month to come back with some more
Information.
stable.
They were missing some numbers to complete the budget, but it's finished now. Yeah.
They were missing the entire report, quite frankly. We're not gonna say they're missing numbers, that was ridiculous. What even happened in front of us last month, and if it happens again, that's a disgrace.
I have never seen anything like that.
That was a disgrace.
But I think if we move this along, as you can see, they're all at max level, but the seniors with the headly adjustments, we put in most of them. The only one that doesn't have any headly adjustments, the PA 214 for the veterans, that stays the same all the time. The others have ticked down a little bit. We can always address it Wednesday if the Health and Human Service Committee change the numbers on Wednesday, so it can always be re-looked at on Wednesday. It's only finalized on Thursday.
Okay, any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Item number 5. I need a motion to consider authorizing renewal of a contract between Shiawassee County and La Casa Inc. to provide supportive visitation coach for children who are placed in and out of home care for 10/01/19 to 09/30/20, not to exceed the amount of $45,000. $40,000 is for services, $5,000 for travel expenses, and authorize the board chair to execute the necessary documents. This contract is funded by county child care funds.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? This is pretty routine.
Yeah, continuation.
Yep, continuation of what they usually do. Okay, if no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Other agenda items, I mentioned a few, I'll go through quickly.
You got 3 minutes.
Okay, come on. Okay, 2.5. All right, Marlene, Cindy, and I attended the Michigan Association of County Convention this August, and they have a lot of breakout sessions. If you would like, this is the program we have. Take a look at it, you're certainly welcome to. It's very informational. The programs are excellent. I'll touch on them a little bit. They had one of the programs was they had a discussion about the census. And it was very interesting. State of Michigan is in the region with, it's an 8-state region: Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan, Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas, and Indiana. We have 53 million people in that region, and there's 24 million households. In Michigan, there's offices there's 5 offices. There's one in Detroit, there's one in Oakland County, one in Lansing, one in Macomb County, and one in Grand Rapids. And they took questions, and somebody said, well, I'm from the UP. Is there going to be an office in the UP? No. Well, if we have problems, who do we talk to? Well, we got offices in Detroit, Oakland, Lansing, Macomb, and Grand Rapids. Several counties down here had the same question. And then they went through some of the criteria, but the main criteria this time, which that will knock on somebody's door up to 6 times to see if somebody's living there, they have focus groups that they're going to try to count every person. In those groups are the Middle East population, millennials population, Spanish population, and other migrant population. And if you know that there's not a question on there if you're a citizen or not, so that ought to be quite interesting when we get done with it. So there was a lot of discussion as to, we hope that by April of 21 that the numbers come out like they're supposed to. So anyway, just thought I might throw that out there. Also too, we had one of the main speakers was the Secretary of State Benson, and she indicated that she'd like to see federal funding of elections. That brought some response too. So I might throw that out there for discussion. Also, people were there from the Michigan Land Bank. The Michigan Land Bank helps you get organized to help take care of blighted properties. We probably should take a little look at that, and it would be a good idea to understand that more. Also, I go through all my stuff here. MERS was there, and I talked to MERS again, and hopefully we'll get that all worked out. So, but other than that, we had a lot of breakout sessions. Marlene or Cindy, do you have any comments on those?
No, probably not that pertain to the finance committee.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll probably just save mine for Wednesday night or whatever night it is, we can run a little detail.
Okay.
Because I have some notes at home I wasn't prepared to share tonight.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Also too, one other thing too, I went to the vendors, like Johnson Controls. If you have a need in your county and you're having a tough time coming up with the money, they can do an audit and see how much money they can save you in electricity, develop a program. It's almost like a lease program to get things fixed. We've had those type of programs in the past. I will be sharing some of that with Tim Hill, our maintenance director, and so on and so forth. But goes along with it, that's kind of the finance stuff and so on and so forth. The other thing, we Parks and Rec met in August. This is September. And one of the recommendations was to help try to finish up some things at the Chi-Town Dam Park project. And I know I have Larry and Phil. Would you two like to give us a synopsis of that activity?
Sure. The Parks Board met in August, as Commissioner Plowman said, to request an appropriation of $7,500 from the waste management account to finish the projects at Chi-Town. Those projects include looping the gravel driveway to connect out to Bennington, expanding the parking lot with additional gravel, and to build, I believe, 2 fishing piers, and a few other things now that the dam is out and the park restoration is near completion. Phil has a brief update for everyone on how things are going out there, so I'll let you finish
Okay,
up.
well, good afternoon, thanks Larry. It's been since 2010 this project started, 9 years. An average dam removal takes 5 years around the state of Michigan. This one was just a little 4 years longer, and it's out. There's still material down there to spread for seeding, and there's a meeting tomorrow morning at 9:30, which is a punch list meeting, which will be the end of encounters between the engineer and the construction firm. And I don't know how much longer the DEQ expects this project to perform to the specs, but you have some real estate there that the state owns, the land bank owns. That was the dam and the part of the earthen dike. It's real estate. You don't own the river, which the dam was. It was state owned, but you got a quick claim deed coming your way to finish off all the need you have for the real estate. What has really happened as a result of this project and the downing of the reservoir was you took a 23-acre park and you now have a park that's 90 acres in size. So it's a sizable piece of real estate and the largest park in the system, and only one park smaller than the largest park in the county, which is Hawkins Lake in Wausau. Road Commission's agreed through a member of the Parks Commission is nicely composed with the drain office, the road commission, whatnot. You can get a lot of coordination that way. Well, Bennington Road will have a white striped walkway for people to walk between the two parks because there's no bridge across the river at this time. So the west and east parks will be safely connected if people want to walk that kind of route. The another thing surfaced. There was an old dam from 1836 that surfaced during the drawdown of the reservoir. It was called a corduroy road. It's a series of longitudinal logs in the river piled on top of each other so you can roll wagons across it and then pond water for the mill race down to the power mills. Well, it was a hazard. And only a couple of weeks ago, it was opened up. Some of it was left for historic purposes, but it was opened up just enough to squeeze navigation through there and let the fish travel freely through there. And everything I've heard on Facebook, people from Flushing, Grand Blanc, all over the place are trying to get Grode County Park to the Shiawassee County Park, saying it's fabulous and beautiful, and it's quick. And that's why the dam was there, because river falls there naturally. So it's a wonderful asset. There's a lot of money went in there to take a dam out, but most of the improvements that the park's going to enjoy are restoration improvements. There's at least 3 acres of newly molded land all around where the powerhouse was. It's all usable parkland. In that vein, the Parks Commission looked at all the chores that were out there. He mentioned, Larry mentioned most of them, and so I gave them this chart that showed them all the jobs based on their plan that surfaced, because this contract went so much farther than anyone imagined in setting the stage for parks. It was agreed to do some things there, and Larry mentioned them. One of the views of the new reservoir lands that are county park lands now is an absolutely beautiful view. It'll be a hilltop view with a platform for sitting. There needs to be a security fence there because it is a 40 to 50 foot straight drop down to the river from there that never existed before because it was always treed and shrubbed. And so that's a new job on that list of monies that's in there. I think that's essential. That's probably the first thing that should be done before somebody takes a leap. The launch sign will get installed. You know, there's a little few repairs on the west side, but it's all in all. Part of the pathway system will be done because they left the gravel open, the road open, 10 feet wide for trails. That's perfect base. Instead of topsoiling it and seeding it to grass, it's going to be open for walkway. We'll cover half of the walkway plan for that park just because of this job. And so to finish it off, there'll be some gravel laid out there. Even one of the parks commissioners thought they had access to gravel to keep the costs down. So all in all, I hope you find it an opportune time to finish off this park from that job that was done there and enjoy the profits of a wonderful piece of real estate that is Shiawassee, which was the second meeting hall of the county commissioners, by the way, in 1840. It was an old hotel there on a hilltop, and that's where you would have been meeting if you had been there then. So it's a great town, little town. It's a great little park.
I remember the hotel.
Yeah.
That's the need to pick up. Thanks, Phil. Also too is that with the monies we're asking for today, we'll be able to get the parking in there really good, and they'll be able to settle all winter. And also, please come. We're going to hold our last park meeting of the year in October. It's the first Wednesday at 6 o'clock. We're meeting at Chi-Town to go over all the things there that has been done, all the things that have been buttoned up, and it's quite a landscape change. I've been there and I'm going, wow, I never realized how gorgeous it was.
And never a discouraging word. Everybody that went out there said, this is a good change. At the outset, no. And now, yes. It's been a wonderful public experience to see why that was done and how good it could be.
Yeah.
It's so good that the Parks Commission wants to have a dedication ceremony next spring, when most of the vegetation is restored, maybe a quick claim deed from the state.
Be here by then.
Yeah, so that'll be a ceremony for that time.
Okay, thank you. Yep. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Larry. At this time, does the committee want to authorize $7,500 from waste management monies so we can complete our projects?
I mean, I'm all in favor of that, and I would love to see the money, go there, John, but do we know how much we have spent out of that this year?
Waste management, we can have that. We have a balance of about, I think it's about 80,000. Yeah. So, but we get a report.
I'm happy to move forward. I think if we could by Wednesday, maybe just have what we normally spend things
Yep.
on the list.
Yep.
And then compare it to what we've already spent,
Right.
just so I can look at the projections of what they may be coming for and if it's over, because we may be over this year. But if
Well,
we're
because
not,
we have that big overage,
yeah, just-
from the recycling.
just to see the numbers.
Yeah,
So
okay.
that
Mike,
would be
if we
my
could have
concern.
those bill projections. and-
We'll have an accounting up to date as to monies expended, monies budgeted, and so on and so forth.
But yeah, other than that, I think it's a good idea. Let's
Yeah.
get it done.
Okay.
Don't they have a regular board that kind of approves of those expenses?
You guys do. The waste management money comes from
Yeah, I know.
waste
but
management. They submit it, and we have it for these projects. They don't individually.
Settlement was usually
Oh, that's what I meant. I thought maybe the solid waste board was involved in it, so.
But the fact that, you know, we went 7,500 over what we have previously approved for the recycling, we should probably just
Yeah,
double
we just
check
need to
before
see,
we
we
commit.
need to see what's outstanding.
Yeah, 'cause then we did 5,000.
Because I know those monies don't come in until
So-
later,
Yeah.
you know,
Of course. Okay. With that, with the proper accounting, we'll move it to Wednesday's meeting.
That's planned.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Anything else? Anybody have anything else?
Your land bank thing, can we get more information on that maybe Wednesday?
I have tons of information.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do you know how many counties operate a land bank?
yeah, I think there's 33 now. Yeah. I asked all those questions. And the gal who actually I talked to is Linda Nora, and she lives, I think, west of Wausau. And she years ago, she worked for the county treasurer, and she took this job, and it's very interesting, and she'd love to come and talk to us about it. So, yeah, I have that. Okay.
That's it, thank you.
Okay, very good. Anything else? And that last call to the public, is there anybody who would like to speak at this time? If not, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Jim.
Yeah.